Good morning. Thank you for joining me in this morning mindfulness practice. Do you have dreams? Something that you would love to do? Let's take a few minutes to get into a calm, relaxed state and imagine something that makes you really happy, really content, comfortable. Hanging out with your favorite people, enjoying your favorite hobby, feeling satisfied with a job well done, knowing that life is good. Take a deep breath in and let that go. When you're relaxed, your central nervous system is calm. You feel happy, healthy, well. In this calm state of being, you can start to think clearly. You can start to create ideas. Ideas come to you when you're calm and relaxed. Notice at times when you're going for a walk or having a shower that an idea pops into your head that you never thought of before. That comes from allowing yourself to be relaxed, giving yourself permission to just be calm and creative, to not worry or doubt, to just breathe in and know that you're taken care of. If you're bored with life, you don't get up every morning with a burning desire to do things. You don't have enough things to look forward to. We can be pulled by goals and dreams and ideas, which feels even better than being pushed by a driving force. What kind of dream would you love to bring into reality? Maybe it's something so big it seems like a fantasy, but without a goal, life can be kind of flat. You can get to the point of not even trying when the going gets tough. But when you have an image in your mind of something that you really want to attain, that keeps you going even through the hard days, even if you can't see evidence that it's happening yet. My mentor, Bob Proctor, was forever talking about goals and the role that they play in our lives. And he says it's so important to understand the importance of a goal. It's not so much the goal itself that's important, but the growth that you experience on the way to achieving the goal. And that's a really big deal. He tells the story of a young woman named Gertrude Ederle, because up until the year 1926, no woman had ever swum the English Channel. Then an automobile company offered a red Buick convertible automobile and $2,000 cash to the first woman who could accomplish this feat. Gertrude Ederle was a 19-year-old American girl, and she wanted that vehicle. She could see herself with it. The image caused her to decide to swim the English Channel in order to get that car. Partway across the channel, her body strength began to give out, and she felt she couldn't swim one more stroke. You might have some idea of how she must have felt. But as Gertrude lay there waiting to be taken out of the water, she closed her eyes, and before her imagination passed an image of herself sitting in this red Buick convertible. Seeing herself in possession of her goal gave her a new surge of strength, and she didn't stop again until she felt the opposite shore under her feet. Swimming the English Channel was not Gertrude Ederle's goal. The red Buick convertible was her goal. Swimming the channel is what she had to do to reach her goal. The image of that goal gave her the necessary strength to keep going. That's what worked for her. What will work for you? What goal do you have that would cause you to work at something until you attained it? To accomplish great things, we must not only act, but also dream. Not only plan, but also believe. We need more people who specialize in the impossible. What would you love? What seems impossible, but it would be so fantastic if it was your life? We can take a fantasy, a dream, something that you desire. Maybe it's a red convertible. Maybe it's a black truck. Maybe it's taking your whole family to Australia. Maybe it's a dream home. Maybe it's starting a business where you can leave a legacy and help so many people. You can create jobs. You can give more money to your favorite charities. You can feel wealthy enough that you don't have to worry if you decide that you're going to take time off work and travel the world. What gets you excited? It takes making a decision. Do you have an entrepreneurial spirit? Bob Proctor talks to people all the time about starting their own business. He said, the other day I was talking with a young man who will graduate from university next month. He was having a very difficult time making a decision with respect to his future employment. What would he do? Where would he go? On and on the questions flowed, but the answers were escaping him. Bob began asking him, how do you want to live? Where do you want to live? How much money do you want to earn? The amount of money that this young man wanted to earn was considerably more than 99% of the companies that the country would offer if they decided to employ him. And Bob asked him, why don't you start your own company? Work for yourself. He suggested every company in the world was started by someone. If they could do it, he could do it. Maybe that's what you want to do. This young man's had a blank stare, and he slowly said, I never thought of that. There are millions of people in the country, and every one of them has needs. Think of what those needs are, and then which need would you most enjoy filling? Maybe you have an idea that no one else has thought of yet, or other people have thought of it but haven't taken action. If you know something would change the world, make life easier, why couldn't it be you bringing it into fruition, into reality, helping people. Maybe you could be known as the person who invented the can opener, or cashmere sweaters, or stand-up desks. Why not you? Bob Proctor said, for some strange reason, as people, we seem to think that a person must be a certain age before they can start their own business. That idea has no foundation. Age has nothing to do with starting a business. Courage, ambition, and a sincere desire to serve others are all that are required, whether you're 18 or 80. Kemmons Wilson built a chain of hotels at 80 years old. He had retired and become bored, and he was the originator of Holiday Inns. In this day and age, I see people who are 16, 18 years old who are self-made millionaires. They started their own businesses. You might have children that want to start a business at the age of 12. You'll get experience. You'll acquire the money that you need to start. What it takes is making a decision. How do you want to live? What do you really want? How do you want to spend your days? I spent 39 years working in a profession, and I started to get bored and wanting to do something myself, something different. But I held myself back for 5 years thinking I wasn't an entrepreneur. I couldn't do it. But all you need to know is, what do you want? How badly do you want it? And be willing to step out of your comfort zone. Then as you work towards a beautiful goal, all the people, all the resources, everything shows up as you need it. Your age should not be a consideration, just like your gender should not be a consideration. We end up being controlled by our past, people telling us what they think we should do, and then we buy into that and end up being uninspired or bored. Apathy can be overcome by enthusiasm, and enthusiasm can only be aroused by two things. First, an ideal which takes the imagination by storm. What do you love? Not what are you settling for? It's fine. Yeah, that's just the way it is. But what gets you excited? What do you really want to be working towards? So an ideal that takes your imagination over, something you're so excited about you can hardly think about anything else. And a definite, intelligible plan for carrying that ideal into practice. What would life be like if you had the courage to go after what you really wanted? If you are in search of ideas that will stimulate you to greater results and rewards, maybe you start reading biographies of great men and women who have accomplished wonderful things. What kind of work would you be doing? Think about Michelangelo, the famous sculptor. He was putting some finishing touches on one of his statues, and a friend came to visit. A few days later, the friend called again, and when he saw the statue, he commented that Michelangelo couldn't have done much to it since he was last there. It didn't seem to have changed. Michelangelo raised his eyebrow and replied, "I have retouched this part and polished that. I have softened this feature and brought out this muscle. I have given more expression to this lip and more energy to that limb." And the friend said, "Oh, but all those are just trifles." Michelangelo replied, "Perhaps so, but trifles make perfection, and perfection is no trifle." Think of the times we skip over the trifles because we know no one will notice the difference. But the trifles are all molded together. They spell perfection in your life. You may never reach perfection, but taking care of the details will definitely improve the quality of your work, and you will be rewarded accordingly. You've heard the saying, shoot for the moon, even if you miss, you'll land among the stars. Well, I don't think you want to be a perfectionist, but you do want to pay attention. What gets you excited? Do more of that. All successful people are forever attempting to expand their horizons, to stretch their mind. Oliver Wendell Holmes put it beautifully when he said, "Once the mind has been expanded by a big idea, it will never go back to its original state." When you expand your mind, you develop a greater awareness. And awareness is something that cannot be taken away from you. Traveling might do that for you. Where would you go if you didn't have to worry about the amount of money that it costs, or airline strikes, or danger? What comes to mind when you think of beautiful beaches or exciting places? What comes to mind when you visualize getting out of your comfort zone and doing something that would be thrilling, exciting, fun? If you have a beautiful goal, take time to bring it to the forefront of your mind. Take a deep breath in and imagine that you're there. If you live in a cold climate like I do in Canada, and it might be 20 degrees below 0 Celsius, you might start to dream of being in a beautiful place like Huatulco, Mexico, or somewhere in Hawaii or Belize. What does it feel like as you're walking along the beach, dipping your toes in the ocean? A gentle, warm breeze. Seeing a jungle or beautiful palm trees. Hearing exotic birds and smelling the beautiful flowers. Your mind can take you anywhere. Allow yourself to relax and write down something that you would love to do or be or have. Most of the time people say, well, I'd love to do that, but I don't have the money. Well, I'll do that when I have the time. Well, what is your someday goal? What would you do if you won the lottery and you had time off to enjoy the money? Where would you go? Who would you take with you? Who would you help? All your bills are paid. You don't have to worry about responsibilities. What kind of fantasy do you have? Let's take a moment to write it down and give thanks for it already happening now, because if you can see it in your mind, if you know that that's something you would love, if you get into the energetic vibration and spend time in your imagination, it is inevitable that you will hold it in your hand. You will experience it in reality. It might scare you a little bit. It might be so exciting. It might just be, I would love that. Whatever your feelings are, capture that on paper. I'll give you a couple of moments to do that. Write it down as if you're already there. What does it look like? What does it feel like? Your vision is the emotional picture of what you truly desire. Get into the energy of how it would feel to already be there. Just like the young woman who swam the English Channel to get the red convertible. If a red convertible is your dream goal, what are you willing to do in order to drive that beautiful vehicle? If you get any ideas how you could accomplish your goal, write those down too, because when you're in the energetic vibration of thinking from your goal already attained and you get ideas, that is infinite intelligence showing you the way, giving you a plan. As you step out and start to move toward your goal moves toward you. Everything is already created. It could be in one form or another. If it's in your beautiful imagination, you want to start to get into that energetic vibration so that you stay in alignment. You start thinking differently. You start believing it's possible. You know that it's probable. And then you get ideas. As you take action on those ideas, things start to unfold. Gertrude didn't wave a magic wand and have the red convertible show up in her driveway. She swam the English Channel to get it. You will have to step out of your comfort zone and do something different in order to attain that beautiful fantasy. But just because you haven't done it in the past doesn't mean you can't do it now. What would your future be if that was really your life? How would you be spending your day? How would you be spending that money? How would you be feeling now that you've already experienced that beautiful trip and you have all these memories? Think about your fantasy as a future memory. The more you think about it, the bigger it becomes in your experience. And then the ideas all come together, and soon you'll be living that fantasy. That's how everything works. You get an idea, you take action on it, and it becomes your reality. Just because you don't know how doesn't mean it's not going to happen. Take the first step. Move toward what you truly desire. Think about it in a relaxed state. Get excited about that dream and write down any ideas that come, and know that whatever pictures you have in your mind are coming attractions for your life. They will happen so long as you don't give up. Don't get halfway across the English Channel and ask to be pulled out of the water. Whatever you dream about is meant for you. You're just going to have to take different actions than what you normally, usually, habitually do. Create a beautiful picture. Write it down and start that as your plan moving forward. Create a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me in this morning mindfulness practice. I'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 7. And for my clients, I'll see you back here at 9, where we can get clear on what that decision is. Where are we going this year? Thank you for joining me in this morning mindfulness practice. Have a fantastic day.